The abortion industry and many pro-choice activists don't actually care about racism, sexism, or ableism. Those are just buzzwords that they weaponize in order to attack their political opponents, conservatives and pro-lifers. They don't actually care about these things in real life. Well, let's start with racism. Well, Planned Parenthood kills more unarmed black lives in 2 weeks than the KKK lynched in a century. Planned Parenthood was founded by a racist and eugenicist that spoke at a KKK rally, and Planned Parenthood continues to praise and name awards after that founder, Margaret Sanger. 79% of Planned Parenthood surgical abortion facilities are located within walking distance of majority black neighborhoods because Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry knows that black women of childbearing age represent 4% of the American public, and yet they obtain 36 to 40% of the annual abortion rate. Well, those numbers are very helpful to know if you're trying to maximize your abortions, right? You recognize that that's a disproportionate amount of abortions that are being performed on a very small percentage of the American public. So there's a lot of bang for your buck right there. They recognize that. That's why they put a disproportionate amount of their abortion facilities within walking distance of a racial class that obtains a disproportionate amount of abortions. Planned Parenthood once tweeted, and you can look this up, that if you're a black woman in America, it's statistically safer to have an abortion than to give birth. Wow. What's more racist than that? Pandering to a racial class that gives you the most cash in return for killing their children by telling them, well, if you care about your health, you should just get an abortion because that's safer than giving birth. And Planned Parenthood endorsed Joe Biden, who said that you're not black if you don't vote for him, described Obama as the first clean and articulate black man in American politics, and said, quote, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is incredibly diverse, with incredibly diverse attitudes about different things. Wow, sounds pretty racist. I guess the left and the pro-abortion movement doesn't care about racism. They're the organization, along with the left, that's called for canceling anyone that reminds us as Americans of our troubled racial history, while fully endorsing and naming awards after their racist and eugenicist founder who launched the Negro Project in order to create less black people in America. I guess they don't care about racism. Interesting. What about sexism? Well, they tell men that their opinion and entire thoughts on abortion mean nothing because of their genitalia. They tell men to shut up, and their opinion on abortion means as much as a cow's opinion, to quote Joey Tribbiani. It's a moot point. It means nothing. We don't care about your opinion on abortion because you have a penis. Can you imagine if a pro-life man like myself told a pro-choice activist woman that she doesn't get to have an opinion on 40-year-old men raping 8-year-old boys because that's a male issue? It actually doesn't involve females. How would that be received? I'd probably be labeled a sexist, and rightly so. But when they tell that to men who might want to voice their opinions on the slaughter of their own preborn children, they're told to shut up. That would be sexism. What about ableism? Well, Margaret Sanger was an actual eugenicist, right? Who hobnobbed with the founders of the American Eugenics Society in America and advocated for a eugenics approach to breeding, which she called, quote, for the gradual suppression, elimination, and eventual extinction of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization. So Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist who wanted to use birth control, and specifically encouraging the black community to do so, and even sterilizing infirm individuals who she didn't want reproducing. That would be ableism if anything fit the bill. So obviously the pro-abortion movement and the left doesn't care about racism, sexism, or ableism, and they're not going to condemn abortions which are sought for racial, sexist, or ableist motivations because they don't care about it. They're just buzzwords that they weaponize to attack their political opponents.